What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Motorfest. So in this video I will be going over most of the challenges in the Rule the Streets playlist. So there is going to be around 20 plus you can do, and or I guess you could say you probably could do most of them besides these three here. Do keep in mind, guys, these are obviously going to be fairly simple. So for these two here you will have to be in a crew with at least one other person. Now the funny part is all you have to do is actually finish the event to get these two completed. And then for the other challenge, guys, all you will have to do is reach the top 10 of a grand race. So this one's probably going to be fairly simple considering the Corvette C8 is going to be a pretty decent car overall. But the big thing here is most likely going to be the other players hitting you out of the top 10. Now moving over to the first challenge here, guys, drive 9.3 miles in free drive. So this one I would probably say is going to be fairly simple because you can do this while doing the other challenges at the same time. So luckily this one is going to be fairly easy. But moving over to the next one though, guys, we have reach a speed of 186 miles an hour while being in Honolulu. So you don't have to do this one at night or anything like that, but I did notice you have to be in like the legit heart of Honolulu to get this one done. So I would say it is going to be fairly simple, and at the exact same time you will also get those 9.3 miles finished fast. Now for the next few challenges, guys, you will have to visit a few different locations around Honolulu. So the first one's going to be, I don't even want to pronounce that to be honest because I probably will destroy it, but you will have to get to the top of the roof in free drive of that said location. Is it Kakakako? My goodness, that sounds terrible. But nonetheless, guys, this is actually going to be a pretty simple location to find. So as I did mention before, guys, all three of the next challenges are indeed going to be here in Honolulu, so they're luckily going to be pretty dang close by to each other. But the first one you guys will be looking for is going to be the center building right here, insanely close by to the wording of Honolulu. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, visit the Moana Center in free drive. So similar to the other challenge, all you will then have to do is basically go to the said location, and the second you actually get there, the challenge is going to complete. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, visit the National Cemetery in free drive. So similar to the other two challenges like the Moana Center, all you will then have to do is head to that said location, which is right above the Honolulu wording right here. Now, I did want to include one more challenge here in the Honolulu area, guys. You will have to get to the top of the cupola of the Business Plaza in free drive while using the Corvette C8. So for this challenge, guys, you will once again have to head over to Honolulu, which at this point is probably not going to be insanely shocking, but the Business Plaza is going to be pretty close by to the Waikiki area. And what's kind of funny, guys, is in order to get this challenge done, you will actually have to jump into your plane and land inside of the top of this building and head to the center. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, complete 5 speed trap feats 62 miles an hour over the objective speed. So similar to some of the other challenges in the other playlists, all you will have to do is be 60 miles an hour above the posted speed for that speed trap. So for example, guys, you can also do this one there in Honolulu, which I do believe is like 130 something miles an hour. So you will obviously have to do around 190 to get this one completed. And now moving over to the next challenge, guys, complete 5 slalom feats without collision. So similar to some of the other playlists, you most likely did see a challenge very similar to this. All you will have to do is basically pick a slalom of your choice. You can also restart that one instantly every time you do it. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, drive from the Diamond Head to the Oahu airport in less than 5 minutes. So for this, you will once again have to use the Corvette C8 Stingray. I would probably say a lot of players will not mind driving this car because it's honestly pretty good. And luckily, guys, it's not going to be insanely far from Diamond Head to the Oahu airport. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, drive from the Roar the Streets container to the Electric Odyssey container in free drive. So for this one, it obviously doesn't tell you much, which I would say now with many of these challenges is probably not shocking, but for this, guys, if you are wondering what exactly the container is, that is going to be the main spawn point here for Donut. So this is going to be the Donut container here. And do keep in mind, by the way, guys, the other one's going to be pretty close by, and it's going to be in Wahiwa.
Set your sights and let's start the show.
Now moving over to the next challenge, break 50 objects driving above 155 miles an hour. So for this, guys, I would actually recommend going a bit faster than 155, so something around maybe like 170. That way, because if you do normally hit items, you actually slow down. So for this, guys, one of the easiest ways I found to do it is to aim for fences because they don't slow you down that much. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, break 400 objects in Honolulu. So for this, I would actually say this challenge is going to be fairly simple. There is going to be a lot of different things you can run into in Honolulu. So if you did want to, by the way, though, guys, you can basically run into every single thing you actually see in Honolulu. That could be one way to do it, but I have to admit that's most likely going to take a while. So the easiest way I found is to aim for these stone walls located around Honolulu. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, drift for a cumulative time of 30 seconds. So this challenge is honestly going to be fairly simple, and I would say one of the easiest ways to do it is probably at the airport. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, finish the event Screw Times Drifter without collisions. So this challenge is honestly going to be insanely simple because a lot of these drift events do seem to be insanely open, so there's really not that many things you can run into. So the biggest thing here is to at least finish the event, even if you're not drifting that much.
I'm serious. Go do it.
Now moving over to the next challenge is most likely going to be a fairly simple one. Reach a speed of 143 miles an hour in the Oahu airport in free drive. So all you guys will have to do is to make sure the Ford F-150 is leveled a bit. Do keep in mind this thing is also going to be in Street Tier 1, so it's obviously not going to be the fastest thing out there, but luckily hitting 140 miles an hour is going to be a breeze. Now moving over to the next challenge though, guys, I would actually say it's probably going to be frustrating, but finish the event American Times Wrestle without collisions. So this will have to be done in the Ford Shelby GT500, which I would say is actually a pretty decent car, but the big thing here, guys, is there is a lot of stuff you can run into. So obviously the barriers and or the poles around this racetrack, and of course you can also be way too fast around some corners. So now moving over to the next challenge, guys, finish the event American Times Wrestle without collisions. So similar to some of the other events, guys, you will have to have the clean modifier on. I really don't know why they actually word some of these challenges like that, but for this you will indeed have to use the Mustang Shelby, which I would say is going to be a decent car for the most part. Now, do keep in mind, guys, the biggest thing here is you don't have to win this event. As long as you do finish it, it will indeed count toward the challenge, so you can take your time on this one, and if you would like to, don't forget to put that difficulty on level 1. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, drive for 2 minutes straight in first position in the event Legendary Times Rivalry. So this is actually going to be like a 1v1 type of event, so putting this on like a lower difficulty is probably like the best way, but overall though, guys, I would say this challenge is probably going to be fairly simple, especially on the level 1 difficulty. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, reach a speed of 199 miles per hour through the Waikiki Marketplace. So for this, it is indeed going to be one of the Street Tier 2 cars, so 199 miles an hour is definitely going to be fairly simple. Do keep in mind, guys, the marketplace you are going to be looking for is going to be right here. I do want to mention, by the way, guys, a quick tip is I would recommend spawning here and or taking the road down all the way to this said location by the beach and then following this all the way straight right through the marketplace. Now for the next challenge, guys, all you will then have to do is break 20 objects in this said event, so I would say this challenge is going to be fairly simple, at least compared to the others. If you guys are wondering, by the way, it is going to be the last event in this entire playlist, so all you will then have to do is basically break 20 items, from poles to tires, and you'll get this one completed. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, get to the top of the Royal Luau roof with any hypercar in free drive. So all you guys will then have to do is once again head back to Honolulu. I would also recommend spawning over to this race here. Do keep in mind, guys, the Royal Luau is going to have a jump right in front of it. So the second you take that jump, you are then going to get the challenge. Now moving over to the next challenge, guys, get onto the convention center roof with any hypercar vehicle in free drive. So all you will then have to do is, once again, you're probably going to be in Honolulu for a while. My goodness, there are so many challenges in this playlist at this location, but for this, guys, the convention center is luckily going to be pretty easy to find here. Do keep in mind, guys, I would actually recommend spawning to this feat, and of course the ramp to get on top is over here.